Hello everybody, welcome to today's video in which I vlog my experience back in cosplay, but for the first time going to the London Winter Comic Con as well as YALC, which just so happened to be their 10-year anniversary. Hope you enjoy. We have made it to London. We are up here for Comic Con. This is mainly going to be a sped up silent music kind of thing, so come along and enjoy. So my first time back in cosplay after years and years. I wanted something that would be lightweight to the skin because I didn't want to overheat and pass out, which I have a tendency to do. Something that was simple in execution yet effective, and obviously a character that I have loved for years. So of course I went for Raven from Teen Titans. And do you know what? I was so chuffed. I had people actually coming up to me and asking for pictures, and I mean, it was such a lovely experience. I thought I looked pretty basic, but I guess pretty basic is still effective. So yeah, this is my other half's first time going to any sort of convention, and he said that he had a great time too. I think because it was smaller venue than what I'm familiar with in the MCM Comic Con, which bear in mind I went when I was like 16. I think this was the perfect kind of venue to start with, and also coming back into it, obviously being worried about the overwhelm. Yeah, it was a bit busy, but it wasn't super scary. Like, I was comfortable, he was comfortable, we could still get up and see things, especially on the Sunday, like we could get up to the displays properly. So yeah, it was a great experience overall, and I just loved the slightly smaller scale in comparison with something like MCM XL Expo. So I had the Comic Con on the Saturday and the YALC on the Sunday, but it seemed like everyone was kind of intermingling anyway, so we did find our way upstairs, and that's when we discovered that was where YALC was. So I didn't want to spoil anything by kind of ruining my day that I had planned for the Sunday, but I didn't get it on footage, but I bumped into some friends that I had been speaking with online. So Amy McCoy I finally met in real life, and Sharon Joy I finally met in real life as well. And there was also Kasha from Horror Sickness / Kasha in Wonderland. And oh, I was so giddy. I was a little bit starstruck, so I wasn't like my full self. I'm like very, very shy when I haven't like talked to someone for the first time in real life before. So yeah, I think that kind of came through. So I apologize to them if they're watching this, but oh, it was such a blast meeting them for the first time in real life. It was fabulous. So had a little look around the YALC section, but you're going to see more of that in Sunday's part of the vlog. We are back for the evening now. We have had an outfit change and had some dinner, and I actually managed to go into the YALC part. I thought the tickets were going to be specifically separate, but they were kind of merged eventually. But my YALC day is tomorrow, and I ended up meeting Amy from Amy McCall and Sharon Joy, and it was so lovely because it was like unexpected surprise. I didn't expect to see them there, but it was just a flying hello, lovely to meet you in real life sort of thing. But hopefully I get to see some others tomorrow. I will show you what I got today on the stands. Let me do that. I got some fudge. Here are some cards from some of the stands. This particular one was for the Smart Doll clothing, and they actually had the creator there as well. I really wanted to get a Smart Doll, but I missed like the batch of when they had them there, so it was just like the clothing, different sellers and stuff, which was so cool though. There were so many different things you've probably already seen. Some more cool artists. This is a manga series. I think it's all self-published, so this is different to this one, but I wanted to get a sample of everything. Well, this is really cool because every time you write an anime, you can physically track it and keep it like written down. And this says you can also gift it to people to be like, if you don't know what to watch, here, watch this, which was a really cool idea. This small business did nail polishes and whipped soaps, and these two smell amazing. So there is Divine Intervention, and we've got Arcane, and they were like D&D inspired, and there was like a mini surprise dice inside, and also some sort of competition as well, which is really cool, and the art on it is so cute. Even though it wasn't technically the book day, I still got quite a few book samples. So these four make up the first 4 chapters of a new release. It's a surprise book that's coming out next year, I think they said. The author of this one just handed it to me, which was very kind. There's some really cool samples. This one I'm particularly excited about because I just read Young Gothic and it was fantastic. This one, the author was doing a pitch and it sounded awesome, so we love the sound of that. Some really cool artwork, some more samples. This one sounded cool. It's like a black girl band in the 80s, if I remember correctly, like a rock band, and it sounded awesome. It's like a graphic novel. Bookmarks. And lastly, which were technically the first things, but they were like the bottom of the bag, it's really cool. I think it's 3D printed dragon. It's only £5. These two are from the same shop. Got some dice and a dice bag that has like pockets inside, which is super cool. Boom, boom, boom. These came from the same shop as well. Really gorgeous earrings. This was awesome. Some fan art, I had to get that. And this guy was selling hot sauce. He had like a hot sauce business called Dean of the Dead, but I really wanted the tumbler. It looked really cool. So that is the haul from Saturday. I got to share the exchange of getting this. The lady came up to me and said, "Do you like pentagrams?" Because my Raven cosplay seen pentagrammer, and she had this on discount, and I actually really loved it. It's a stained glass window, and I'm not going to open it because I want to keep it safe, but it's beautiful. Absolutely stunning. We are back again, heading towards YALC this time for Sunday. I'm looking forward to properly taking in all the stalls while that sun is bright. Read it from your eyes. Can we leave and make the time stand still? What if we stay? Pretend there's nothing This author was so lovely. His story was inspired about his house, which he made into one of the most national amusement places, one of the most magical places, and it sounded so cool. Like he just turned his house into an attraction. What's on your mind? Can I read it from your eyes? It was time to venture to the other half of YALC. I purchased my first Lock Library box. This is one of their older backlist boxes, and I also won a proof with them for Su Lin Tan's latest novel coming in 2025 called Immortal. I loved the first book, The Daughter of the Moon Goddess of the Celestial Kingdoms, so I'm really excited to try more from her. This author was such great fun. Her book sounds amazing. Percy Jackson, but make it Celtic gods and make it gay. Sounded fantastic, so I had to get a little clip of the setup. At this point, after going through the little pop-up water stones, I was on the hunt for the spaces where they were doing all the panels and talks, as Amy McCaw was stepping in to chair one of the panels, and I really wanted to see her talk. And it also had Karen McManus on there, the author of One of Us is Lying and subsequent novels, so I wanted to show some support for Amy chairing last minute, and to also just listen to some awesome authors talk about thrillers in the YA space, as it's a genre that I've slowly been getting into but have really been enjoying. Oh, the author for Daughter of Chaos is absolutely gorgeous. I really wanted to go up and say hi, but I was so nervous. She looked so beautiful, and I was low-key intimidated, but she's so lovely. I saw her interacting with other people, and from her TikToks, like, she just seems so lovely, so I wish I went over and said hi.
stories are, I used to work with data, and I'd be like, hey, look at this disability data. People would go, statistics. But when you tell people the story, suddenly they have a whole different viewpoint of it. And we need to keep telling these stories so that when people see a horrendous decision being made, a law being passed, a bill being passed, someone on TV with a sign that says something horrific, they need to have a face in their head and go, I can't allow that to happen because I know this person's story, I know that person's story. Yeah. They're more than a statistic to me, they're more than a bit of data, that is a person. So we need to keep doing what we're doing, which is ending dehumanization.
Telling their stories. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Buzz.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, so definitely agree with everything that Al said. It's all very important. I think that, you know, the reason why our stories are most important is kind of like what I was saying about my character Magna, how she didn't know that she was queer. You know, I think that's true for like a lot of people where they don't know how to figure out their identity until they actually see an image of that. Even like, you know, I grew up in like Dublin when it was very, very white, very straight, even though, you know, it's never that straight, you know. There were no like queer people in my secondary school, and there were like no real like really queer books in my library, and there were no like authors of color. And so for me, like, it was so difficult to even imagine myself like writing a book that I'm writing right now, you know. And it was a journey to be able to get here. And so I think that when we ban our books, that's what we're doing. We're taking away people being able to identify who they are.
We are lining up for the Critical Hearts panel with Carrie McManus and Amy McCaw. It's a long queue.
You're probably expecting Lauren James. I'm not Lauren James. Sadly, Lauren wasn't able to attend, but I'm here to chat instead. My name's Amy McCaw. I'm the author of the Mina and the Undead series, which are murder mysteries with vampires set in 90s New Orleans. I'm also the author of Dracula retelling Day of the Night that is coming out next year. I was really glad to be asked to do this panel because YA thrillers and mysteries are my absolute favourite books, and it's a delight to be joined by Finn Longman, Ravina Garan, and Karen McManus. I'm going to start by letting the authors introduce themselves and introduce their books, but first, a couple of housekeeping things.
I'm Finn Longman. I'm the author of the Butterfly Assassin trilogy, which is a trilogy about a traumatized teenage assassin who is trying and failing to live a normal life. And by failing, I mean she killed someone in chapter 1 of book 1, so she's doing a really bad job. I'm also a medievalist and can be usually found on the internet yelling about incredibly niche medieval Irish nonsense. So, yeah, that's usually me.
Amazing, sold the murder in chapter 1. That's all I need to know. Karen, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Karen McManus. I wrote the One of Us is Lying series, which is 3 books total, and I've also written 5 standalone young adult thrillers. The latest of those is my newest book, Such Charming Liars, and it is about former step-siblings who reunite when their con artist parents target the same wealthy family.
I haven't read that one yet, but it sounds amazing. Ravina, do you want to introduce yourself in your books?
Hi, I'm Ravina Garan. I'm the author of This Book Kills, Catch for Death, and my latest book is called Monday's Murder, which is out February 13th, so very, very in time for Valentine's Day. And that one's basically about a girl who goes to Old Town and she arrives to find a note on the bed that says, get ready for the next week because we're going to play a game. There's going to be a quiz on Tuesday, record on Wednesday, treachery on Thursday. You get the idea leading up to your murder on Monday, and she makes a test to solve the murder. But yeah, I wrote this.
So you wrote it all. And can I just say, Catch Your Death had twists in it that completely got me, and that's quite hard to do, so definitely recommend. So to start off with, I wanted to talk about how thrillers can span different genres and how each.
When I was writing One of Us is Lying, I needed to understand what police officers would do, but I didn't know any police officers. So I was like, I live down the street from the station, I'm just gonna walk down there. And I waltzed in, and I was like, hey, if you guys aren't busy with like actual crime, could you answer some questions I have about a book? And luckily it was a slow crime day. So I explained the setup, and I'm like, and here's what the police officers are doing. Does that work? And he was like, that would never happen. And I said, okay, what would happen? And And he told me, and I said, okay, but that's boring. So, could we meet in the middle? You know, it's something that's a little bit outlandish, but it could happen. And then, you know, we sort of got to a point where he was like, I mean, I guess. If they were very incompetent, I guess that could happen. Done. And I said, would you like to be the acknowledgements? And he said, no.
I had a similar situation with a police officer. I have a friend who is in the army in the US, and she has contacts in all sorts of places. And she managed to find me a police officer in the deep south. And I asked him loads of questions. And then in the end, he said he did used to work the night shift near New Orleans, so he could possibly be a vampire, but he would never tell me if he was. And I was like, oh my gosh, but still not really want to know that. But he did tell me a lot of things about police procedure in the 90s that I went, oh, that's not going to work. Fingerprints can't take 4 weeks. You know, DNA can't not really exist at that point. Like, that's not going to... So I did have to hear some of the true answers and then say, no, I'm going to change that. Because like you said, either boring or I need it to happen tomorrow, not 3 weeks from now.
And the way I look at it is I am not writing a police procedural. You know, like my characters are not going to know how things are supposed to work. They're going to get a small slice of how things sometimes work. So I want it to be realistic. I don't want it to be so silly that it's offensive, but I think there's like some wiggle room there.
I think also like getting the human angle is so important because you can spend ages like researching how it's supposed to go. You know, like I spent ages trying to learn how these scientific concepts work behind the scenes, but actually that's not what I needed for the book. What I needed for the book was what part of the machine does this character interact with? At what point in the process can it go wrong? You know, what can go wrong about it? Then you need a chemist to be like, okay, how would you screw this up? And then they tell you, and then that's so much easier.
Sometimes you end up knowing too much because you need to know all of it just so that you can find out that one little thing.
I think it's harder when it's to simplify it for a reader when you don't fully understand it.
Yeah, exactly.
This author has created a graphic novel inspired by Tibetan mythology and history. My other half decided to purchase a copy and got it signed as well. He seemed like a really cool guy, and we were sharing Instagrams and animes to watch. It was fantastic.
And then like I'm auditioning and it was like 1985 and I'm at an audition and Crispin was there.
Junior and Robert Russler, the two guys, jerky boyfriends, they really were what you saw on screen. I love them. They're so fun, so fun. But what you see on screen is really what they were like in real life together. They were practical jokers. They were such a pain in the ass in the best sense. So much fun. But they thought it would be funny one day to take a dump in one of the actresses, not mine, thank God, actresses' trailers and just leave it there like a dog would. And
That would not go over well now.
it would not go over well now. And it was a big deal that they denied the whole thing. We all knew the truth, so we had to keep our mouths shut. But yeah, that was one of the tales to tell. There was, I have some interesting things that maybe you guys don't know at all, is that, so I auditioned with Robin Wright, and she was playing Lisa. She got the role of Lisa, the kind of rock role. Do you know who Robin Wright is? Sean Penn, Specs,
Jenny from the Enforcement.
oh yeah. I think it was a political TV show.
Jenny from the Enforcement.
Jenny from Olsen. Anyway, so Princess Bride. She had the role of Lisa, and that's why I auditioned her. And she couldn't do it because she was doing a soap opera called Santa Barbara, and they wouldn't let her out of the soap opera and do the movie at the time. It was before Princess Bride. So they gave the part to Kelly Enberg, who Kelly Enberg was one of the first supermodels. She was with Rod Stewart at the time, and she was a big supermodel. And I knew she was. I idolized her. And here's Kelly Enberg. We had 2 weeks of rehearsal. It was so much fun. John Hughes was the director. He wanted us to have this camaraderie, all of us. So he'd have dance parties during our rehearsal. He'd always come in with these really awesome mixtapes. And he played for us music we'd never heard. And we were like, this is great. And we'd have dance parties in his office and then read some things. And then he said, oh, we're going to the Brock, and she was wild and fun, and seriously, all of these characters, except for Bill Paxton, except for Bill, all the characters in the movie were very similar to what they were like in real life.
And with that, YALC Comic Con is over. We've had such an amazing time. We came back much later today because we ended up going to a couple more panels and there was just lots to see. But we had a blast. I'll quickly spin you around and show you just the volume of stuff that I've obtained. I feel like a dragon with all my treasure. I've got some of those bits, so a haul will be coming. And this suitcase, I daren't open it because I don't think I'll get anything back in there as neatly as I have right now. But that is all from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall catch you in another video soon. Bye.
You're my perfect